The Meddlesome Meeples present the Quest Report with Matt and Richard.
So now we're going to talk about Kanzume Goddess, which literally means goddess in a can.
And we say talk.
It's not just a clever name.
We're going to rag on it.
Yes, we are.
Today we're going to wail on a game.
By Japanime Games. Now, this game is essentially a deck builder, similar to Star Realms in the sense that you start off with a certain amount of god energy, and the objective of the game is to reduce your opponent's god energy to 0, thereby killing them. However, it's done through deck building. You start off with a hand of 10 cards, which you draw 5 on each turn, and you've got the opportunity to acquire other cards as the game progresses, because some of the cards that you've got you start with are defensive, and some give you money to spend. Now, this is themed around a battle between the Norse Gods and the Greek Gods. So you have an avatar which you start off with. It might be Odin, it might be Zeus, it might be Poseidon.
So they completely skip the Romans.
They completely skip the Romans. This is just Norse and Greek gods battling. Now, in essence, that really appealed to me, because I love mythology. I love the Norse mythology. I love the Greek mythology. So as soon as I heard of this game, I thought, yeah, I want to try this out. But it's done by Japanime Games, and it's done in very much a Japanese anime art style. Now, I do like anime, and I like manga.
Almost hentai.
Yeah, but this is at times borderline hentai. Don't Google it if you don't know what it is. This is a family-friendly show. Don't Google hentai, kids. So, it's done with a Greek style. Now, many of these male gods are depicted as women, which you might think, diversity, great. When you see the artwork on the cards, you might rethink that assumption. Because these cards, well, they're basically made sexy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Lots of titillage. Can we say titillage on a clean radio show?
Your
Boobage?
program. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'm responsible, yes. So. But yeah, there's basically these women are depicted in very much anime style. I do think straight out that the artwork on the cards will put off a number of players, because some people are just going to be offended by the way that the women are depicted in the game. For others, that's probably going to be something that's going to draw them in, because, a lot of guys like that style of art. Well, I myself like anime, but it doesn't match with the theme.
No, but if people do like anime, I think girls would like the artwork as well. I mean, that a lot of anime artwork is kind of this way.
But what I mean is, I like animes and I watch animes, but the anime style does not match the game, does it? Because we're talking about Norse and Greek, so you would expect the cards to be depicted in a Norse style and a Greek style, and actually that would have been really awesome to have those two different styles mashed up together.
But people will be used to anime taking those kind of themes, like in Fate Stay Night, I think it is.
Yeah,
it was King Arthur and stuff, but very, very anime. So I think people could like the artwork, but yeah, I know that you say it's very unexpected, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unexpected, and I think it will definitely be enough to put off some people from playing this game, particularly maybe with children.
Well, yeah, children shouldn't be playing this.
Yeah, children shouldn't be playing this game. Moving on to the game itself. Now, there are certain mechanics in this. I mean, I like deck builders generally. There are certain mechanics in this that I think are very interesting. So, for example, with most of the cards, you have like a restriction symbol. They'll have 3 symbols on them, for example, in the top left-hand corner. And what they've got there is different coloured symbols. So you'll have a coloured symbol that may be green. On your turn, you're allowed to play 1 card from your hand. What you do is you play that card, and then you can play another card that matches the associated symbol.
Yeah, that's how you chain them into it.
That's right, that's how you chain cards together. And you can play as many cards as you like on your turn, provided that you can successfully chain them together.
Yeah,
that's really good in principle, and I really like that effect.
Yeah.
What I did find, though, was that you'd quite often, because I mean, deck builders, there is an element of skill in building your deck because you've got to try and whittle down your weak cards and get good cards that will work together. However, the problem with this restriction is that it doesn't really match anything per se, other than the fact that these cards have had these symbols put on them. So you can't build a deck particularly around a particular thought or tactic.
Yeah.
And quite often, because of the randomness of the drawing of the deck, you'll end up with cards in your hand that you might only be able to play one card out of your entire hand, and then you just got to discard them all. Right. And you might be thinking, like for example, in a lot of deck building games, you've got the option to chain other cards together because certain cards will let you play extra cards or draw extra cards, and then you can just play whatever you've got in your hand. The thing about that, if you might draw a card and you've got, say, 2 cards in your deck that pair really, really well together, well, if you bring them out, one, in different hands, individually they've still got something good about them. You can still use them. Quite often with these, you'll have 2 really good cards in your hand, and you can't use one of them at all because of that restriction. Now, I do like the thought of having to really think about what you want to play here, because it does really make you choose what cards you want to play and what cards you can play, because everything is so restricted. But sometimes that is quite frustrating. Overall, I do like that particular mechanic though, and I think that mechanic is probably my favourite thing about the whole game. The downside to me was that it felt very much like a bit of a tug of war, because there were so many cards that was allowing us to gain energy back up that it just felt like the game was dragging. At the first 20 minutes, it was fun. After that, it just started to drag because I'd damage you, you'd gain that energy back on your turn, you'd damage me, and then I'd gain it back on my turn.
Yeah, I was just looking through these, like while we're talking about the artwork and everything, just finding the actual kind of avatar ones, and they are pretty good because like a lot of the other ones are, they're kind of okay. You have all these kind of, like in Star Realms, you've got like scouts and stuff. A lot of them are kind of like that. Yeah. There's very basic cards. The priestesses, that's what you have in these. But these are the actual proper, like the god ones. There's Hades, Hel, Odin, Valkyrie, Athena, Zeus, Poseidon, Artemis. These are really quite good cards. I think I was some version of Thor when we played it, maybe. I can't remember. I don't think I managed to find that one when I was just looking through. But I remember my one was able to heal quite a lot. And it really was just making the game go on and on and on and on. And I was just looking at the tin here, and it says 45 minutes, and I think that's pretty optimistic that it would only take 45 minutes, because
if you get a few heal cards in your deck, you're very quickly dragging this game out. I think it took us 2 hours because we were playing it. I don't think we were playing particularly defensively. I think it was just these were the cards we ended up with in our decks.
I started committing suicide. Yeah. Because I just wanted it to end after a while.
It got to a point where we just think, shall we just pack this game away?
Yeah.
Because we were just fed up of the game by that point. I say for the first 20 minutes or so, I think I was enjoying it, and then after that, it started to become obvious that it was going to become this like tug of war backwards and forwards, and I don't like that in a game. It started to feel like work instead of fun. And a game should never feel like work.
Yeah, I like deck builders as well, like you were saying. But that was the thing that I didn't like about it. I thought the mechanic didn't really work for it. Maybe it was the ones that we picked or something, but yeah, it just didn't seem to function as a game.
I'd say it's got one good mechanic about the game, which is, as I say, those restrictions. That's really interesting. And I do like the artwork. I just don't think it matches the game.
Right, okay.
I'm not opposed to anime artwork. I do think that some people will just flat out not play this because of the artwork. But I personally, I like animes anyway, so that doesn't really bother me per se. But I would still be very careful who I got this out in front of. Much like I would with like a game like Conan. I'd be very careful with who I played it with.
What if the Pope came round?
Oh, the Pope doesn't come around here anymore.
Okay, right.
He's too busy defecating in the woods. And now, but overall, I would say that this has one interesting mechanic, but it's a game that I would quite happily just never play. It's not a game I can recommend at all. There are many deck builders out there. This is probably the worst one I've played.
Yeah, actually thinking about it, most of the deck builders I really like. So yeah, I would say out of the ones I've played, yeah, this one is the worst. As for the artwork, I do kind of get what you mean, but for me, the type of artwork that I don't like in a game is when it's very cartoony. I like artwork to be very kind of stylish and kind of draw you into the world that they're trying to create. But if it's going to be cartoony, then anime is kind of okay by me, because that always is crazy.
It's not that it's anime.
Yeah.
It's not that the actual artwork itself. As I say, the artwork itself, a lot of the artwork is actually quite nice, particularly on the avatar cards.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it in any way matches the Greek and Norse mythology that it's depicting. It's
if you actually care about that stuff, then
if you care about the theme, then I think it is quite jarring in that sense, because it's just completely not what you expect and doesn't match with the mythology.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really. So,
but then thinking about it, when you buy a game by a company called Japanime Games, maybe that's something you need to think about.
Yeah, you kind of know what you're getting, don't you, with this?
I mean, look at the tin. I mean, I bought this in a sale, I think, from chaoscards.co.uk. But I mean, I saw that picture on the site. Maybe if I'd seen that one, I would have been thinking about it a bit more. But
you didn't know it was a game, even.
I thought I was ordering a goddess in a tin. You know,
yeah, basically, it's like some kind of genie type of deal.
They pop the tin, the goddess pops out, and she grants you 3 wishes.
Yeah, that's nice. So you're just thinking about wishes when you bought it.
So there we are. This is Kanzume Goddess, goddess in a can, shall we say? Give this one a miss, guys.
Yeah, it's the first time we've said that.
Yeah, well, there's just so many better deck builders out there. Why on earth, when there's so many better deck builders out there, would you want to play this crap?
Okay, it's getting weird now.
Matt wants to feed this to his pet wolf. What about you? Tell us what you think in the comment section below. Farewell, Quester. To find out about other productions by the Meddlesome Meeples, then check out our channel or rendezvous with us at meddlesomemeeples.com. Until next time, Quester, farewell and keep thine axe sharp.